Hey traders, checking in on the stock market today. The market was pricing in the increased probabilities of the lack of a stimulus deal pre-election, and all of the sectors that we watched were dropping in unison as far as major sectors. Some sectors held on better, and we'll look at all that in just a moment.
Introducing the Chart Guys Swing Report, a weekly digital publication that uses technical analysis to identify long-term market opportunities. Understand the market from a swing trade perspective. Follow institutional money as it rotates from sector to sector, and make the most of the Swing Report's weekly trade opportunities, with key entry and exit levels provided. Performance is tracked and updated weekly. For more information, visit us at chartguys.com. Now, let's check out some charts.
So what was notable today looking at SPY on the 5-minute downtrend is we had a downtrend for the entirety of the day. You will not find many days where that has been the case, with literally no 5-minute higher low and higher high at any point. Oh wait, did we ruin that at the end of the day? We did. I take that back. In the last 30 minutes of trading, we held support by 5 cents. We broke resistance by 10 cents and then saw no follow through from there. But technically, that's a 5-minute higher low and higher high. You get the idea. The bears had complete control of today, and we were just getting fed these headlines steadily saying Pelosi's meeting at 3 p.m. doesn't look like it's going to happen, and the market was just pricing it in. And I'm watching all of our major sectors, and they're all down the same. Again, we've been watching this sector rotation game going on for a really long time, where XLF will be inverse to QQQ. But today, I'm looking at healthcare down 1.58%, financial sector 1.52%, and QQQ was down 1.63%. So all doing the same thing, money leaving the market, and we will see how much pricing in the market has to do. I would think that the market wouldn't be too hopeful of a stimulus deal before the election, but today shows us that there was still some hope there. So where do we stand from here? Are we going to open lower? It's entirely possible. I look at the futures chart here, and while the hourly RSI is crushed, and I expect a short-term bounce overnight, absolutely, there's nothing saying that we can't cool off that hourly RSI and then drop to a lower low overnight. And that's because none of our longer-term timeframes are oversold yet. The 4-hour RSI is 35. The daily RSI is certainly not close to oversold. So that's why I always focus on a number of timeframes, because if the 4-hour RSI were 28 right now, I would be more confident in an overnight bounce having follow through than I would be the fact that it's not oversold yet. So an hourly bear flag could happen over the next 6 hours. Other notable events. We are seeing a lot of weekly lower highs being set. So SPY broke the low of Thursday. Thursday has been the line in the sand level for me in the short term the last couple days. And if we look at the weekly, SPY had the all-time high, a weekly higher low, a weekly lower high. And if we didn't have earnings or an election, I would be looking for a weekly higher low compared to 319.80 and for this range to tighten up. Why? Because we had a big bull move up, a big pullback back down, which had the most likely scenario, a weekly lower high. And if you go back 2 or 3 weeks, definitely we're looking for that to be the potential scenario. And now it's just a question of, will earnings and the election lead to a break of this tightening weekly range? I would anticipate that will likely be the case, but I'm still going to be watching for a weekly higher low compared to 319.80 as long as that is support, unless we start to see some massive bear volume. As far as the next short-term support level, on SPY, we're looking down at 334.38. QQQ, same story. Broke the low of Thursday. Weekly lower high is set, and I would be scouting a weekly higher low compared to 260.11, depending on what earnings are going to do. Netflix reports tomorrow after hours. The highlight of the tech sector earnings are next week. But weekly tightening ranges. XLV, daily lower high and lower low. Technically confirming a downtrend and setting a weekly lower high compared to the all-time high. Failed to break that level by 21 cents, and now we're consolidating and watching for a weekly higher low compared to 177. XLF, daily lower high is set. If we break 24.51, the low of Thursday, that will be our 2-week lower high being set. I've been watching the 2-week time frame for clarity. I will consider that a clear rejection and a lower high compared to 26.01, and we'll then be focusing on 22.94. So again, you get the idea. Almost everybody's doing the same thing. Weekly lower highs, and now we're watching weekly support for a higher low attempt. Biotech sector failed the all-time high on Friday, and if we drop down and break 117.59, we confirm a daily downtrend. Weekly consolidation will be underway if that is the case. And we'll look for a weekly higher low compared to 105.89. Who held up better? SMH has been holding up better for a long time. We held the low of Thursday. It could still certainly break if 184.40 breaks. Weekly consolidation underway. The big difference is it's not a weekly lower high. It's coming from a clear higher high and a new all-time high. And now we're looking for a weekly higher low to continue the uptrend. And of course, the solar sector, green today, up 1.5%. Again, pricing in the potential for positive election results, regardless of who the president is. And we saw the MJ sector as a whole, both Canadian and US, holding on a lot better than the broader market as well, which showed me that we were seeing a play for the election and offsetting broader market correlations. And actually seeing some of the strength in TAN and the solar sector first thing made me a little bit more aggressive in the MJ space later in the morning. The VIX. So the VIX broke short-term high of last week. 30 and 31.20 are the next levels. And we could definitely see some follow-through if this weakness continues as far as our weekly lower highs being set. And we will then be watching if we can break those two levels in the low 30s. The next level is 38.30 on the weekly perspective. And you can view this as an equilibrium on the weekly. If we start taking out those levels, it'll be low, high, higher, low. And then we'll be looking for a lower high. And again, this is one where it's not crystal clear. Maybe if we condense it to the 2-week time frame, don't like that either. But that's the way that I'm viewing it. If we can get over 30 and 31.20. Otherwise, we will still be in control of the bears if those levels don't break. It's nice to break one level. We need to break multiple levels, especially when they are close by. So just to keep it simple in our minds, stimulus, this is how I do it in my mind. Stimulus means a ton of money flooding into the world and the dollar dropping as a result of that increased supply. Dollar dropping, assets up, gold up, Bitcoin up, stocks up. No stimulus, no influx of money, and dollar bulls see a little bit of strength. So that's the scenario this morning. Well, not this morning, this afternoon. The dollar was very weak. The market started opening higher. And then, of course, that changed. So we're needing to see a 4-hour trend change back to the bulls on the dollar for a daily higher low to be set. There are two scenarios here. We are either going to see an inverse head and shoulders with a higher low compared to 93 and then a bull break of 93.90 to confirm a daily trend change and to confirm a weekly higher low being set. Or we get some positive stimulus news and break 93, continuing the daily downtrend and not setting a weekly higher low. Again, all asset bulls want stimulus. They want a flood of money into the world. And that's what we're watching in the short term in the next no longer 48 hours, but next 24 hours or so. Everybody is thinking that if we don't get the stimulus before the election, we'll get it after the election. So that's something that we'll be looking towards after the election. But kicking the can down the road as far as stimulus is concerned with some of the headlines today. So as the dollar is attempting a daily higher low, we have the metals setting lower highs. And again, the correlations are always changing between the dollars and our assets, but over the last 2 weeks, it's been clear to me that metals are more tick for tick inverse to the dollar. The S&P 500 and the broader market are better at disregarding dollar strength, and cryptocurrencies are the best at disregarding dollar strength. So the metals are feeling the dollar bounce attempt more today as we have a daily lower high potentially being set here. And if we drop down and break 1882 support, our weekly lower high, will be set. So potential to lose the daily uptrend, which is why 1882 is so important. For silver, that level is 2357, but it's the same setup, bigger picture. Miners already lost support. Miners have lost the daily higher lows. We've closed at the low of the day, both Friday and today. And our weekly lower high on miners is set, and now it's up to the bulls to hold 3708 for a weekly higher low to try and form. But we did not create a whole bunch of space for that to be the case, so it is entirely possible that the weekly downtrend continues. Switching to the oil futures contract for December, that's where the volume is now, CLZ 2020. Equilibrium continuing to tighten up. We could stay within this equilibrium all week. I care about 41.57 and 41.74 as resistance, 39.52 and 39.36 as support. Just patiently waiting for the break. Inventory report Thursday. Natural gas is very impressive for the bulls. So we were looking for the potential of a weekly lower high. We never lost the daily uptrend. We would have had to have broken 2314. The bulls butted their heads against resistance a bunch, and then finally following through and getting over that level. So from here, now that we've broken 264, we have confirmed a weekly continuation move, and we're now looking at 2782. And the daily uptrend will be our short-term guide. As long as 2314 holds, the bulls keep the daily uptrend in their favor and keep their full control. As far as trading today, I was trading DKNG with a lot of members in the room and CGC. I'm going to cover CGC in the MJ sector video after this one, so we'll talk about that there. DKNG. DKNG has the potential of shares unlocking, and that is generally seen as a bearish event, and it is a known event. The market prices it in. You think logically, when shares unlock, the price is going to dump as everybody sells. That's not the way the market works most often. Most often, the market dumps into the shares unlocking and bounces after the shares unlock. You wouldn't think that's the way it goes, but the market knows it's coming and prices it in. So DKNG has been all bears for the last 2 weeks. And we started the morning week. 4-hour RSI was down in the 20s. Hourly RSI was as well. And we saw a nice bounce from oversold conditions, and we're looking for a little bit of follow through. So I did swing a position. It was a bit sloppy for me. I was trying to make an entry this morning, and when I am live streaming, if I am setting a stop, I will always stick to it. And most of the time, that's a good thing. It keeps me from getting myself in trouble. There are times where I move stops around when I'm trading. If I recognize a falling wedge, I will pull my stop. I buy bear breaks and flip little bounces. That's what I would have been doing here, but I ended up setting a hard stop, getting stopped out, and giving up on it for the morning. And then as soon as CNBC saw this pump, as soon as I saw that dollar volume coming in, I re-entered my bullish position, saw some nice follow through, I then shorted it for a couple little quick flips, re-entered long, and then we saw a nice close into the end of the day. So comfortably profitable in that position. It was a little bit sloppy. It was not ideal, but green is green. And we need to see a bull break of the high of today tomorrow. And that is 44.97. The volume was standing out to me, looking for that reversal. And I will just be looking for a daily lower high compared to 52.52. So this is just a little short-term swing for me personally. You know, I would certainly be pleased with another couple dollars to the upside. I would be looking to lock in profit. But a nice close, especially with the market weakness. And it was the kind of scenario where watching correlations, we were just, you know, taking one step back with the broader market, but every little broader market bounce, we would take 2 steps forward. So it was clear there was a bullish correlation with the broader market, and that allowed for a high of the day close when the market closed pretty much at the low of the day. So we'll keep an eye on whether we get follow through there tomorrow or not. And check out the MJ video if you're interested in the CGC trade, as there was a ton of strength there today as well. Have a good rest of your day. Do good things. Bears could absolutely see follow through overnight tonight. I am bullishly favored as far as my portfolio is currently concerned. And if we were to see some green tomorrow, I would look to scale out of some bullish positions and protect potentially by entering some bearish positions. But not even going to think about that until tomorrow morning, bright and early before the sun. I guess it's before it's bright. Before the sun comes up, that's when I'll make that game plan. Have a good rest of your day. See you soon. Dispersing pumpkins around the yard with the intention to smash one open every couple days and let the squirrels and critters eat them. Nice to have this late bloomer with a lot of vibrant color when everything else is fading to brown. Are you fading to brown? If you remember, I had the Dr. Seuss looking lettuce that all went to seed in this bed, and it's left me with a ton of unexpected lettuce that should last through most of the winter. Bonus lettuce. Next weekend I'm going to clear this bed out and plant garlic in it and use a bunch of the leaves from around the yard as some mulch to tuck it in.